The Lamborghini Aventador is one of the most beloved supercars of all time. It's something that happens once every decade or more. The Aventador is the great-great-grandchild of the Lamborghini Miura, which is arguably the first supercar ever. Succeeded by the Miura was the legendary and wild-looking Countach, with a nearly straight line for the roofline, the wedge-shaped silhouette, the fenders in an unearthly shape, those giant intakes on the side of the car. It was something that didn't look like anything else people had ever seen. After the Countach's lifespan ended, the Diablo was the follow-up for that car. Then came the Murcielago, then the Aventador, and now we have the all-new one. But one thing we do know for a fact is the design, which is inspired by the Aventador, which is inspired by the Murcielago, which is inspired by the Diablo, which is inspired by the Countach. So if you haven't already, just please subscribe down below to help me achieve my dream of becoming a successful YouTuber. I make all types of content on this channel, from everything from car reviews, vlogs, to my personal opinions, to redesigning cars, to short videos, and even informative videos. So basically every single thing a car person would want in a YouTube channel. So make sure you hit that subscribe button down below and turn on post notifications again, so you'll be notified every single time I make a new video. One thing I just want to get clear is that everything I say in this video is just about the design. Performance does not matter in today's video because, again, we are just talking about design, but it is the next generation Lamborghini V12 hybrid powered all-wheel drive supercar with maybe a dual clutch transmission. But I really prefer the single clutch because it gives that sort of like emotion that the Huracan did. And no, in today's video, I am not going to give any information about the Revuelto or Tormenta because that will be saved for a future video, and today's video is just going to be about design, for the millionth time that I've said it. Alright, so the first ever spy shots that were taken of the Lamborghini Aventador successor was already almost a year ago. I can't believe that already, but it was around late February of 2022, I'm pretty sure. But these were the spy shots that were taken. They weren't very good. They were visible. You could tell that's the Aventador successor because it had a lot of design traits from these cars that we are going to be talking about. So obviously we have seen many concepts from Lamborghini that would determine the future design language of the brand. Cars such as the Terzo Millennio and of course the Sián. But the Sián is actually a real production car, but the Terzo Millennio, that's what we're mainly going to focus on because then that design language transferred into the Sián, which is now going to be transferred into the Aventador replacement, the Tormenta or Revuelto. And another concept car that sort of influences the Aventador's replacement is the Lamborghini V12 Vision GT. I'm pretty sure that's what it is, but kind of not really because that's a fake concept car for like Gran Turismo or something. But back to the Terzo Millennio, in the front you can definitely see how this is going to feature some of the best designs from Lamborghini coming in the future, and you can see those Y-shaped designs on the headlights or the daytime running lights down here, which is obviously seen in the new Sián hypercar. And then you have the main headlights that actually project the big lights onto the road right on top. It sort of reminds me of like the McLaren 720S, where you have a daytime running light strip under it, and then you have the main headlight sitting on top. Even in this little splitter area, you can sort of see that in the leaked patents, which we will discuss later and show you, and also the most accurate renderings you'll ever see of this car, which basically sort of reveals the entire thing, which I can't believe I'm saying that already because the Aventador, it has a place in my heart, a very special one, because it is my favorite car in the entire world. If you want to know why that's exactly so special in my heart, just watch this video right here. I'll link it down in the description below, of course. Even the rear of the Terzo Millennio concept, you can see that it will easily influence the Aventador's replacement because mainly of those taillights. And we first knew the taillights when we saw those first spy images of the Aventador's replacement that were very, very blurry like around a year ago. But you can easily see that they are taken straight from the Terzo Millennio and sort of applied to a production car. Now we have sort of seen this with the Lamborghini CENTINARIO, but it had pretty similar taillights to this. So honestly, the taillights actually look very, very similar to the CENTINARIO, which looked very, very similar to the Terzo Millennio. So it still did influence the Aventador's replacement. Even the side of the Terzo Millennio concept, you can see that intake on the side that goes in a zigzag pattern like this up towards the door handle area where it usually is, and then it goes up here again to make some sort of zigzag pattern for the air intake, the main one that is. And then once we look at the leaked patents of the Aventador's replacement, we can see that it looks almost identical to it. Well, not completely identical to it, but you know, very, very similar to it. One thing I have to say, and many people don't really notice this, but you remember the Lamborghini Reventon, which it was based on the Murcielago before the Aventador came out. Many people call it a down something Aventador. I'm not going to say it because I don't want to get canceled or anything. It clearly does look like a great value version of the Aventador if you think about it. And then you move on to the Aventador, which was revealed later after that car, and the Aventador, it just became gorgeous. Now, the same thing goes with the Sián, which was revealed at the 2019 Geneva Auto Show. I'm pretty sure it was 2019. I remember looking at that car for the first time on pictures when I was in 6th grade, I think, and that was the time I actually first got into cars, so yeah, little story for you. Now, the main thing about the Sián that you can see are the headlights, and the daytime running lights specifically, but the headlights also, which are the main ones that are these two little circles, but those main headlights are the ones that actually project out light in a huge beam onto the road. Same thing will go for the Aventador successor, except we will look at the leaked patents again. But the Sián's Y-shaped headlights, those are mainly sort of like inwards. It's closer to the middle. That's what I'm trying to say. But in the Aventador's replacement, it's more out. And again, we will look at the leaked patents later. But the Reventon to the Aventador is sort of what the Sián is to the Revuelto or Tormenta. We don't exactly know the replacement's name again. Even in the side view, you can kind of see sort of what Lamborghini is going to do with the Sián's design language and transferring it into the Aventador's replacement. But yeah, the rear, honestly, I don't see any connections to the Aventador's replacement. So here we have the patents of the Aventador's replacement. Now, this got leaked, I think, 2 weeks ago already, which is honestly surprising. Time is flying by really, really fast. First off, we're just going to go with the front view, which is mainly the part that we are going to focus on with the most accurate renders that reveal every single aspect of this car. So the front view of this car, you can easily see it's very heavily influenced by the Sián FKP37 hypercar with those Y-shaped designs in the headlights, and same thing with the Terzo Millennio concept hypercar thing. The daytime running lights are right here, and then the headlights are actually back here. So the same thing goes with this, and you have it in this triangular shape, but I'm pretty sure it'll be like sort of smoked out, like only it'll be visible whenever it's actually on, which is sort of what the 720S has. Now that I think about it, the bottom portion of the bumper really does look similar to the original Aventador. Now that's not a bad thing, but the Huracan and Aventador, they actually had very good line flow in those cars, especially the Aventador. The side view especially, you can see every single line meeting up to another one of them, and it was just, it's so gorgeous. If it didn't have line flow, then it would be a very bad looking car. You can see those dual exhaust on top, and speaking of which, that actually did get leaked, like I think yesterday at the time of this recording. So you can see a little bit of the rear, so you can see the right taillight, I'm pretty sure, and the right exhaust. So you have two exhausts right in the middle of the car, on the top, in the middle of the taillights. So that looks honestly like a pig, but it does look pretty cool. Imagine just shooting flames out that thing. It was known for shooting flames out the factory, out of those exhausts in the bottom of the car, but now in the top of the car,
just imagine that.
And based on the photo that was leaked like yesterday, it doesn't seem like there's much of an outtake area on this car, except for those little pieces under the taillights, like that are directly under the taillights. And the Aventador sort of had a cooling issue, but I don't know, maybe this will catch on fire more than the Aventador did, but I hope not. I hope that's not the case. Hopefully Lamborghini sorted out something. And also, it could get even more overheated because of the battery pack, now that I think about it, because it's obviously going to be a hybrid. But I absolutely love how much tire is exposed in the back. I freaking love it. It's like the Countach. Lamborghini always does it good with the V12 supercars. You have so much tire exposure in the back, just like the original. Carry that design trait over to the new one. Then you have a massive diffuser, but in the middle of that, you have this sort of like exhaust looking area. Now, many people were confused about this when they first saw the Aventador's replacement spy shots, because what were the top exit exhausts for when you have this little bottom exit exhaust down here? Now, what my theory is that it's like the Koenigsegg Regera. Just hear me out. The Koenigsegg Regera has these two little exhausts that are actually sort of part of the diffuser, because they act as part of the diffuser, but they look like they're flushed in. And then in the middle of the exhaust, where the exhaust would have been, but actually that's for the battery pack to extract hot air out of the car. So my theory is that little piece where the exhaust would have been on the Aventador's replacement, that is the exact same thing like what they did on the Koenigsegg Regera. Looking at the side view of this car, it's not very clean. Definitely not as clean as the Aventador, but obviously as modern design traits get more and more
complex,
you would obviously want to follow along the trends to stay in the modern loop, if that makes sense. But back to the part where I talked about the design about the Terzo Millennio's side. So you have that zigzag pattern going up, down in the same exact way as you have in the Aventador's replacement. Now, this reminds me of the Sián again. One thing you did not have in any other Aventador
ever.
You did not have an outtake for the front wheel. Now in the base model of the Revuelto or Tormenta, you have an outtake for the front wheel. If you don't know what I'm talking about, take a reference to the Lamborghini CENTINARIO. I'm pretty sure that has that, but never have we seen ever in any Lamborghini V12 a design trait like that. So kind of cool in my opinion. I don't really think it's necessary for the base model, but let's say if it's the Revuelto SVJ or the Tormenta SVJ, then yes, that would make sense. Because obviously for the lower models, you would want to have a cleaner design, and for the more like hardcore models, you would want to have a more rough design and a more like
design, you know.
But the rear diffuser actually sticks out really, really, really far now that I like look at it, and it kind of like sort of ruins the wedge shape that's known for the Lamborghinis. But this render right here was made by @Germany's Finest on Instagram, and I made a little bit of a few touches to that render because I think it had something a little bit off with it. So this is my render of it. It basically shows the entire front of the Aventador. Just please subscribe down below to help me achieve my dream of becoming a successful YouTuber. I make all types of content on this channel, from everything from car reviews, vlogs, to my personal opinions, to redesigning cars, to short videos, and even informative videos. So basically every single thing a car person would want in a YouTube channel. So make sure you hit that subscribe button down below and turn on post notifications again, so you'll be notified every single time I make a new video. But tell me what you think about the Aventador's replacement. I am so excited for it. And do you think it is worthy of living up to the Countach's design? Not in the powertrain in the V12, I'm talking about the design. But I do hope to see you in a future video, and bye for now.
Please subscribe. Lol, I have big dreams on YouTube.
There's a fly on the top. Oh my god, that's gonna haunt me for the rest of the video. Influence the Aventador's whoa, you know what I mean. Very, a Tormenta or Revuelto or Tormenta. Yes, I got it right. You can see those angry looking headlights, SVJ or but if it's like the Tormenta SVJ or here we have the here whatever you want to call it. Whoa. I'm gonna stop.